As you can tell, I'm in Sutherland Springs, Texas, here at the First Baptist Church. And at this small little church is where one of Texas's most deadliest shooting took place. Inside this church, 26 people lost their lives. Now, this mass shooting took place on November 5th, 2017. A guy by the name of Devin Kelley went inside the church here and again killed 26 people. It says 25 people were killed, and then a lady who was pregnant was killed. So for a total of 26. So now Devin went to the church here at about 11:20 in the morning. He was armed with 3 different weapons, including a Ruger AR-556 semi-automatic rifle, a Glock 19 pistol, and a Ruger SR-22 pistol. Now, it says that Devin was prohibited from possessing firearms due to a domestic violence conviction in a court-martial from the United States Air Force. So Devin was court-martialed from the Air Force, and so he was obviously not supposed to own any weapons whatsoever. But because the Air Force failed to notify the FBI National Crime Information Center, he was able to purchase weapons because they failed to notify. Now, it says that Devin arrived here at the church just before 11 a.m. And it says that around 11:20 a.m. he stepped out of his car. He had full-on tactical gear, ballistic vest, and was wielding his Ruger AR rifle. Now, it says that he approached the church from the right-hand side and shot and killed 2 people on the outside of the church here. Once he got inside, he yelled, "Everyone dies," expletive. He then proceeded to go up and down the aisles, ending up firing about 700 rounds inside this church. Again, killing 26 people and injuring 22 others. Now, police say they found 15 empty magazines holding 30 rounds each. So you can imagine how many bullets he shot in this church. It was absolutely just crazy mayhem, bloodshed going on. Anyway, next to the church is each person has like a little block and memorial for each person. So I want to kind of go over and show you each person, of course, who died. Now, it says that Devin shot for approximately 11 minutes and, of course, paused to reload his weapon. One of the people who was there in church that day was a man by the name of Stephen Williford, who actually ended up confronting Devin. Stephen was armed. He brought his weapon with him into church. It says that he shot Devin twice, once in the leg and once in the upper torso. Now, a particular individual was inside the church on that day, and his name was Stephen Williford. Stephen had his own weapon on him, and he ended up engaging with a small gunfight with the shooter, Devin. He shot Devin twice, once in the leg and once in the torso, underneath the tactical gear that he, of course, had on him. Devin dropped his rifle and fired back with his handgun that he had before he ended up fleeing in his pickup truck. Stephen Williford ended up getting in his own car and followed. They drove at speeds of almost 100 miles an hour. He of course called 911 and he informed them what happened, that this guy came in and shot up their church. Devin ended up calling his wife and told her and his parents that, quote, "I just shot up the Sutherland Springs Church," telling his father that he was injured and that he wouldn't survive. And apparently he said that he was, quote, "sorry." Devin was bleeding profusely from his gunshot wounds, and it says that he ended up crashing into like a road sign and into like a ditch. When he finally crashed, Stephen Williford, who had been chasing him, of course pulled over and went to investigate, and he ended up seeing that Devin had another gunshot wound to his head, meaning that Devin ultimately killed himself. They of course did a thorough investigation trying to figure out why did Devin Kelley decide to come here and start a shooting. It was not motivated by any kind of racism or prejudice against, you know, people at a church, but a dispute with Kelley's mother-in-law. Now again, it says that before the shooting happened, like I mentioned, he was in the United States Air Force. He was there from 2009 to 2014. In October of 2012, he was charged with assaulting his wife and fracturing his toddler stepson's skull. So you can see already that he had some very violent tendencies and outbursts. He and his wife got divorced. During their marriage, he had been physically abusive towards her. For a whole year, she stated that he slapped her, choked her, kicked her, waterboarded her, and even held a gun to her head. His now ex-wife was fearful of him as he made many attempts and threats against her and her family, stating that he would kill them all. He ended up marrying a new girlfriend in 2014. On October 31st, about a week or so prior to the massacre, he actually attended this church in particular, and he was wearing all black and just acting very bizarre. Several of the patrons claimed that they kept an eye on him and made sure that he didn't have any weapons on him because he acted so weird. So on the morning of November 5th, 2017, again the day of the massacre, Devin Kelley asked his wife Danielle to make him a light breakfast, which I guess was unusual, as I guess he normally ate a big plate full of tacos normally. He stated something to the effect of that we only have an hour left. After he ate, they sat down together and watched Alaska State Troopers. And after that was finished, he put their 2-year-old Michael in their bedroom and their 5-month-old daughter Relay in there as well, before he ended up tying up his wife to the bed with rope and handcuffs. And he stated that he'd be, quote, "I'll be right back." Devin's wife, her mom actually attended here at First Baptist Church. And because, for whatever reason, Devin had some arguments and problems with Danielle's mom, who attended here, I guess he thought his best action was to take revenge against the people that went here at this church. So that seems to be kind of the main factor that I can find as to why he did what he did and why he chose this church in particular. Something about just knowing that 26 people died inside this building, I just have no words to describe how eerie it feels walking around here. So it just sounds like Devin had a really messed up, distorted thinking that included violence, obviously. And I think after committing all those different crimes, you know, beating up his wife, the sexual assaults against his former girlfriends, etc., assaulting his young son, all those different things, I feel like he was just kind of a, I don't know, it's cliche to say, but like a ticking time bomb in a sense, where he was already committing all these violent acts and he already had a distorted kind of thinking where he had this, you know, obsession with his mother-in-law, and unfortunately it took out his anger and frustration out on her and the church she attended. And so it's a sad tragedy, really. Anyway guys, I'm gonna head out of here. Thank you for watching. If you're new around here, again, my name is Harmon. Make sure you subscribe, and until next time, I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for watching.